Hey everybody, welcome to That Expert Show, where you help run the show. I'm Anna Canzano. Thank you so much for joining me today. We have a terrific guest lined up to talk with us and share her insight with us. You probably know her as the queen of Facebook. Her name is Mari Smith, and I don't know about you, but it is so frustrating to spend hours creating content to promote your business or your organization, and then go and post it on Facebook or Instagram or wherever it is, and then just have crickets. Like maybe your parents or your close friends and family will like it, and that's about it. Well, we're trying to solve that for you. And yes, I am speaking from experience here. Mari is the premier Facebook marketing expert. Forbes magazine says that even Facebook asks her for help. It actually hired her to teach businesses across the U.S. how to utilize Facebook. She is a top keynote speaker. She is a corporate social media strategist and author of the book, The New Relationship Marketing. Joining us live from San Diego right now is Mari Smith. Mari, thanks so much for joining us on That Expert Show.
Greetings. Hello, Anna. It's a joy to be here with you. I'm looking forward to our chat today.
Oh,
it's a hot topic.
It's such an honor to talk with you because I have followed you for so long now, trying to glean information that you share about Facebook, and just wanted to thank people who are tuning in live right now via the Oregonian partnership and other folks who were chiming in on Twitter saying that not only are you knowledgeable, but you are a kind and just a very likable person. And I so appreciate what you do to help small businesses.
Why, thank you. I'm very passionate about it. Anna, it's interesting because ever since I joined Facebook, opened up an account in May of 2007, I just absolutely love Facebook. I have a passion for it, but equally I have a foot in both camps. I love small business. I like to be a champion for them. I get frustrated when Facebook doesn't cooperate with us and give the proper attention to small businesses. So it's just really lovely to be here and to be able to talk to your audience.
I think one of the main things that businesses wonder about is that magic blue verification check mark that some people have. I'm fortunate to have it. You have it, but it can be rather hard to get both on Facebook and Instagram, I think.
I think Instagram might be a little bit easier, but let's start with Facebook. So what happened is way back, literally, I forget how long I've had mine, maybe 7 or 8 years. And actual fact, I had a blue check mark on my personal profile for the longest time and on my page. And then one day Facebook just emailed me and they're like, we've decided that you're only allowed one quote entity with your verified name. It'd be different if my my business page was a totally different name. And so they took it off my profile. And so now it's just my page, which is fine, no worries. But the whole essence of the blue check mark is simply to say that this is your verified place where you broadcast from, share your content. And particularly Facebook favors those organizations or public figures that maybe get copied regularly if people are setting up fake profiles or they're just up to all kinds of nonsense. Unfortunately, it happens. So it's to avoid confusion. But I think what's happened is that people have attached so much meaning and so much power to this blue check, like everything's going to magically suddenly change if you get this blue check. And it's not necessarily the case. It's nice. I'm telling you, it's nice for me to have it. I don't have it on Twitter. I don't have an Instagram. I don't really care. One day I'll go back and I'll apply again. I applied like 2 or 3 times on Instagram. Like I said, though, it is typically a little bit easier because it's just right inside the app. You literally go inside of your Instagram settings, 3 little bars, go down in there into your settings and look for the application to get verified. You're going to have to send a photograph of your, government issued ID. And that's totally legit. That's what I did years and years ago on Facebook. And then you can reapply every 30 days. If you don't get approved right away on Instagram, then I think they let you know. And if they don't, then you'll know that you don't have it. So just reapply. But with Facebook, definitely a little trickier. But I just wouldn't worry about it too much.
Yeah, because there's really, it's nice to have, but ultimately the value of it, is debatable. Are there words that you should avoid using when you are posting, and I'm thinking specifically about the small business owner who has a Facebook page, has an Instagram, maybe a business profile on Instagram, And we all have heard that, the number of people that you reach is based on, very sophisticated algorithms. And so I think when you're starting out, it can be very tempting to say things like, share this, post this, tell me, comment, like, and somewhere along the way, I've learned that those are kind of bad words that will put you in, engagement jail.
Engagement jail, that's funny, Anna. Yeah, this is a really good point because over the years, Facebook has really taken issue with what they call, it's called engagement bait. It's like baiting. You've heard of clickbait. Most people are familiar with clickbait, where you see the big sensational headline and then you'll never guess what happened and you click and it's just like, it's maybe, it's not quite what you thought it was. And so, Facebook's really attempted to put the foot down with anything that's baity. So clickbait, but they have engagement bait, they have comment bait. Now, even when we're streaming live, Facebook, because it has the AI that's actually doing the real-time captioning, it's a relatively new feature. Facebook's quote listening to make sure that there's no trigger words that are really heinous, of course, because there's been some really atrocious things have happened on live. And so it's really for the protection of the user and to make sure that the platform is used well. And so at the same time, they don't want to have us like really baiting our audience. So you're right, things like comment or, please comment, please share. But the thing is, I'm hesitant even as I'm languaging this to you, Anna, and your audience, because it's not as so cut and dried as like, oh my gosh, I just said the C word, comment, it's it has all these other points, and it knows that, look, you're a regular streamer, you have a blue check. We were just saying it's not important, but in some circumstances might be like this. They know you stream regularly. They know you have good ratings. They know you have good engagement. They know you're legit, in other words. So those bait words, there is just like comment or share, but you could just say, hey, if you find value in this broadcast, let your friends know. Right? There's ways to phrase it without using the trigger words. But I was going to kind of make a bit of a joke when you started on the words, what words to avoid. Let's see now. Any major competitor, YouTube, TikTok.
Oh.
Avoid putting posts on Facebook with not avoid, but you just won't get as much reach. For example, if you share a YouTube video, you'll get some reach, and there's outliers. And I'm always telling people, go ahead and test, because I got some people in my community that are they get a lot of reach with certain YouTube videos. But generally speaking, look, if you have the original video, just upload it natively. Go into that. There's a place on your Facebook page called Creator Studio. And Creator Studio is designed for broadcasters, designed for video. It's designed to optimize video on Facebook. And Facebook's determined to be a video first platform.
That's interesting. I mean, that makes sense. It is a business, so it's going to try and constrict posts that refer people out to their competitors and click away from Facebook. That makes total sense. Which brings me to the type of content that people most watch. I'm putting myself in the position of myself, and also let's say you own a spa, you own a nail salon, you own some other kind of small business, and you're really just trying to build your clientele. You're trying to get more people in the door. Maybe you're trying to sell some more product. What type of posts generate more engagement? Is it strictly video? And if so, what are your caveats on that?
Oh, love this question. Love it. I wouldn't say it's strictly video because, well, first of all, let's start by saying organic reach. That is when you make a post on your Facebook page and then Facebook lets people see it in the news feed of your followers, your fans, people who've liked your page. It's roughly 1% to 6% on average. It's tragic. It's heartbreaking, especially for those of us who've been on Facebook for so long. That's the average. Oh. But there's ways. We have ways. We have our ninja ways. So no matter how many fans you have, how many followers or likes, that yes, posting more video, I would say a good ratio to aim for is roughly 70% video content, which includes some uploading native video, and about 20% photos, images, and then only 10% link posts. However, you can absolutely put a link in your video post. You can put a link in your photo post. So it's not like, oh my gosh, I want to get people to my offer, my opt-in, or my blog post, And so you can still put those in your videos and your images. So I would absolutely persist with video. And I would challenge viewers here, your audience, to go ahead and commit to doing, if they could do one post a day for 30 days, and you can map it out and you can use the Creator Studio to schedule posts. They don't all have to be video, like I say. And the good news with video, and you're good at this, Anna, you and your team, is like, let's say you do a live broadcast, and it doesn't have to be professional polished like Anna does here today. She's a pro, she's a television pro. I do video all the time as well, but you can absolutely just grab your phone and be like in the trenches. If you have a shop, a spa, or physical premises, people love those kind of vicarious videos where they're on the street with you, they're behind the scenes, they're seeing how you make your cake, they're seeing what your products are in the store, and you're just talking to your phone. Then you could take that same content and you can use an app. I'm just started working with a wonderful app called Boosted. It's a mobile app, Android and iOS, and you could just drop a little clip in there, add some text overlay, and then you've got like a little 15-second story or a 1 minute. You can break it up and repurpose it. So I think that's a big key right there for a lot of busy small business owners. Is like, I don't have time to make all this content, but it's almost like you can make it once and repurpose it many times. And there's so many great apps out there for desktop. I love Wave.video, or there's another one I use regularly is InVideo. So yeah, there's, and even just getting some help too, right? Getting a VA that can help you even a couple of hours a week would make a dramatic difference to just having this regular content going out on your page.
A VA, what is that?
Virtual assistant.
Virtual assistant.
So somebody to assist you, or like a tech, sometimes people call it a tech VA, or a video editor even, but just somebody that you can outsource to who's virtual. They don't have to be in your office or in your town or anywhere, and there's some great resources online to find those.
Yeah, I think a lot of my friends from the journalism world have gone into that world because they can apply those skills, just as a little upstart on their own. Are there any caveats that you would put out there in terms of the photos that you use? Like, I seem to remember that Facebook doesn't like thumbnails, for example, with too much text because it looks too much like an ad. If we're not talking about buying ads, which I would like to get to with you.
Okay.
But is there something with that where you if you're putting some text onto a photo, like a thumbnail or a photo, that it can only take up a certain portion of the screen?
Yeah, 20% is the general rule. There's even a tool that you can check if people just Google like Facebook text checker or something like that, and you can check to see. But the concept here is, so remember when like Instagram is like 100% visual platform, but so you're supposed to be able to look through your feed and see like glorious photos. I love following nature photographers, professional photographers around the world, but what's happened is like people like have these ways to do more and more images with text on it, where it's like lots of text, or it's like small font or whatever it is, but it's just Facebook really wants to keep that visually appealing, more attractive, more kind of magazine style of feed. And so what they did is certainly when you went to promote a post, you put money or either buying an ad or boosting a post, that they wanted you to have, whether it's an image or the thumbnail, the very first frame that people see on the video, if it's lots and lots of text, it just kind of ends up looking like one of those kind of, penny saver kind of like so much just in your face advertising. And they wanted to just, like I say, if you think more like a nice high-end magazine. So, but on the paid side, I want to say about a year ago, Facebook, quote, relaxed that 20% rule. So they'll still take your money if you go to promote a post that has more than 20% text. It just won't perform as well. It's not going to get quite as much reach. So I think the rule was causing a lot of challenges for people. But that's a really good point. Now, interestingly enough, who's coming to my mind right now is I was just looking at her earlier for an article I was writing, and she's on Instagram. She goes by the Holistic psychologist.
Okay.
And she has like so much of her posts are image. And now that's just on Instagram. Yeah, because she's really conveying a lot of information, and her posts are like, her images are like little blog posts, but some of them are quotes. And she has like 2.6 million followers,
Wow.
Nicole LaPera. And I really like following her because her content is like educational and informative. And I bring her up as an example simply because I want your audiences to not get too caught up and like they have to like follow the rule and do it this own measuring the 20%. It's like you got to just, test and see what works for you.
Yeah. Um, and I want to appreciate everybody who's tuning in with us right now. Jeffrey and Shelly on Facebook, thank you for checking it out. Patricia, thanks for tuning in as well. Shelly had a question, and she just wants to know any tips regarding ads for beginners, because I think a lot of people are in my boat, which is I bought some ads early on when I was first launching this show about a year and a half ago. I had no idea what I was doing. Just kind of threw spaghetti on the wall, maybe set the demographics to be, women 25 to 54, maybe, for who I would want to see the ad. I have no idea. Facebook always wants me to boost stuff. I really don't have any idea what that's about. Can you give us kind of a dummy's guide for anyone who hasn't delved into that world yet, what we need to know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know what you mean. It's really frustrating when Facebook's just like every every other post, they're like, this post is performing better than 98% or 95 or 82% of all your other posts or something like that. And it's like, give us some money and you'll be able to reach X amount more people. And then so a lot of people will, and they'll just go ahead and they'll press that boost button but not really necessarily knowing what it's about or what it's doing. And that's a big mistake, because you really need to have a strategy. You need to think about every dollar that you give Facebook. What is the intent? Like, where are you driving people? Are you just getting more video views, or do you have an offer, or do you have a specific place where you're collecting email addresses? Or are you selling something? Are you getting them to come in your store? Are you getting them to call you? Are you getting them to private message you? All of these, we call them CTAs. That CTA is short for call to action. So always think, every dollar I put on, what's my call to action? And so then it helps you to build a bit more of a strategic approach. And yes, you can use the boost button. The boost button will allow you to get a bit more reach. We mentioned 1 to 6% earlier. Even if you put $1, $5, $10, put a little nominal budget on some of your posts, what's going to happen is, interestingly enough, you're going to end up getting a little more organic reach. So this is really cool how it happens. You give Facebook some money for some paid reach, and then it starts getting more traction, and it gets a little bit more organic reach as well. So a strategic approach I like to do, I call it my Mari method, is that I will start with video. Invariably it'll be a live, but it could just as easily be a short 1 minute, 30-second video, sometimes 15-second, like a little video ad, or just a piece of video content for what we call top of funnel. Then you get as many views as you can on that. So the main objective, you're going to ideally go into Ads Manager, and to your target audience, Anna, you're mentioning about the specific gender and age and demographic. You need to have all that ideally figured out. Who's your customer avatar, your audience, your personas, and then elevate the reach through some paid video. And then this is a little bit more complex, but the next step in this methodology is you're coming back to do what's called retargeting. And that means you can't just assume if someone sees you, they've never heard of you, never seen you, they just, now they've watched a video, a few seconds, 10 seconds, 15, whatever the length is, but they'll watch some of the video. But now you kind of need to come back and connect with them again. They call them touch points. It takes anywhere from like 7 to 17 touch points, whether it's an Instagram post, a tweet, a Facebook, an ad, a video, organic, plus email, like all the different ways that we can reach our audience and get in front of them. Then that's where you're like every little touch point, building that awareness, keeping that top of mind. And I like to say top of feed awareness, which was stories are really, really good for.
So do you have a sense of, as you've worked with businesses large and small, and maybe the percentage is different for larger businesses versus small, what percentage of their, let's say they have a marketing budget, most businesses probably should of some kind, what percentage of their
Yeah.
marketing budget should they devote to buying those promoted spots on Facebook?
Oh gosh, the AMA, American Marketing Association, they do actually have some stats, and off the top of my head, I'm not fully remembering. I mean, it could literally be as much as 20%, but again, we come back to the strategic intent, just putting them just because Facebook's asking you for it. But I think that if I could make one distinction though, is that ideally get some training on how to use Ads Manager or find someone to outsource and delegate to, because if you keep using the boost button, you'll get some results, but the boost button's kind of a lightweight ad interface, and no matter how much money in ads, little or a lot, you want to allocate maybe only 10% to the boost button, and the other 90% of your ad budget use inside of Ads Manager. And you're going to do things that are a bit more complicated, like the pixel. The pixel is a little piece of code that goes on your website, and it can track when people land on certain pages. And if you have a shop, if you have a retail store online, definitely you see this all the time when you've gone to buy something, or maybe you don't get it, or you're just browsing, and then that very thing that you've just been looking at, the shoe, the purse, the car, the camera, the dress, starts following you around the internet until you go back and buy it.
Yes.
But it's effective. It actually works.
So when you go to make those purchases through Facebook ads, the ad manager, can you simultaneously buy Instagram as well, since Facebook now owns Instagram? Is there a bundle? Is there a deal?
Yep. There is an absolute deal. There's a combo deal. And the really cool thing is it's all done inside the same dashboard. You can do Instagram ads from the Instagram app. You'll see the similar kind of boost button. You can initiate ads from inside the Instagram mobile app, or more particularly to get a bit more sophisticated and make sure you're getting more strategic results, is you're going to do your Instagram ad campaigns inside of Facebook Ads Manager. And there's a little button in there, there's a little area, a little section called placements. So with Facebook ads, you're already doing Instagram ads and story ads, whether you realize it or not, because that placements radio button is always set to automatic. So that means that Facebook's machine learning and AI is going to decide and where's the best place to put your ads. But if you were just doing an Instagram campaign, let's say you happen to know the majority of your audience tends to prefer Instagram, then you go into automatic placements, uncheck that, and then you just check Instagram. You can also do ads on WhatsApp. You can get people to WhatsApp message you, which is very popular outside the US, and on Messenger. You can get people to private message you on Messenger. They were experimenting with ads inside of Messenger, and I think that's not going ahead right now. They tested it and it doesn't seem to be there anymore.
I want to thank more people who are tuning in. Dawn and let's see, Brooke, who wants to know, Mari, what is the best platform for a beginner to get an idea out? Not so much an ad, but just to get a following.
Well, just to get a following, gosh, I would say Facebook. I was about to say Instagram, but Instagram can be hard to build the following. You can connect with people and you can post content. You have to be very strategic with using your hashtags and posting super consistently, ideally daily, sometimes multiple times a day, but then you don't want to overdo it. But with Facebook, given that it has 2.6, almost 2.7 billion users around the world, it is the number one, the biggest social network on the planet. And it has a variety, whereas Instagram's quite simple. You've got like one feed and you got your profile, and the features in there are much more just easier to grasp. But on Facebook, because you've got your business page, highly recommend that. You can use your personal profile for networking and telling people what you're up to and letting them know about your page. And then you can also set up a group, and a Facebook group, creating your own, running your own. I have a really popular one called the Social Scoop, and it's a wonderful place for people to get free support and connect and network and even pick up clients. And so that might be something you do regularly, is go and join other people's groups and do networking as well as strategically and carefully. minding your etiquette, because it's like you gotta, that's fine line. You go and network in somebody's group, but you don't want to be, that guy or that girl. But then running your own group can be really a wonderful way to deepen the conversation. And what you can do, for example, is you can do these watch parties. Watch parties is a great feature on Facebook that's somewhat underutilized, and you can take any video content public, including your own, and you can host a watch party where you're having more in-depth conversations and discussions inside of a group. Also, just really looking to see if you're building a social platform right now, look to see where do you have a current audience, even if it's like 100 people. Maybe it's an email list. Start there and just say, hey, come and like my page or join my group. But give people a reason why. Tell them what you're up to. I'm doing this show, or I'm doing this. I'm sharing tips on, how to make the best flower arrangements, or how to do amazing skincare while on lockdown. Whatever the topic is.
Interesting. Well, you mentioned hashtags on Instagram, which have been around for a long time, and sporadically I've seen people use hashtags on Facebook, but that's really something that they're pushing now. Do you want to talk about that and help us understand? I know you did a blog post about it recently. How much of an impact does it have to use hashtags and the right hashtags?
Very important on Instagram. Never really been important on Facebook. Didn't really take off. It's 2013 they came out, right? So 7 years ago. And invariably people literally look like they didn't know what they were doing when they're like shoving all these hashtags, or they just cross post from Instagram, which is fine. I'm not knocking that. But now, hallelujah, literally within the last couple of years, like a couple of weeks, the last couple of weeks, Facebook has made hashtags significantly more important to the point where they're literally giving people notifications under that little bell and saying, hey, if you add hashtags to this post, you could get more reach. That is music to all of us small business owners' ears. Because in terms of the right hashtags, my real quick tip for you all on that is to go and check the hashtag on Instagram. They're very, very similar. And you'll see the count. You'll see how many people are using it. Whereas right now on Facebook, there's not so many counts. They're not giving you the total count. The one that I really like that Facebook introduced back in May, it's called Support Small Business. And that one is really, really growing. It had almost 4 million, I think about 4 million people. And now they changed it. Now they're calling it Talking About This. So it's got almost 1 million people talking. I think it's playing around with what works and what doesn't, but Support Small Business is a terrific one. But go to Instagram to do your hashtag research, find out how many people are talking or using that hashtag, and look for some related ones. And then maybe put like 3, 5, 10, 15 hashtags on your Facebook posts, even going back through and putting them on some older posts that might help them to get found and seen in the feed and get more organic reach, and especially if you add a fresh comment.
And your advice on hashtags there, I think the natural inclination for me is to pick the ones with the most uses, like, oh, that's got 4 million. But is there an alternate strategy too to sometimes use hashtags that are only at 20,000 or 50,000, so it's a smaller channel and maybe more likely to be seen rather than like a fire hydrant shoving water at you?
You want to do both. And I would pick like 2 or 3 in the millions, and then maybe 2 or 3 in the hundreds of thousands, and then even 2 or 3 in the tens of thousands. And then equally as well, I would throw in 1 or 2 that are absolutely your own unique hashtag. Like my friend Molly Mahoney, she's a fun, vibrant gal. And she has a stand for joy. It's the number 4, and it's like that's her hashtag. I think she even trademarked it. And so like that's her hashtag. It's just her community are used to that, and they know that that's her post. So you can create your own one as well.
One more question producer Bella actually had about cross-posting. Like when you go to post something on Instagram, whether it's a story or some other kind of post, I think it always offers you the option, post this on Facebook as well. Is that something you recommend for businesses, or the businesses should really shy away from? It's easier, but maybe create the post within the app itself.
No, I'm all for cross-posting. Look, we are all busy, busy, busy people. And if you can accomplish more, like I know you're cross-posting this live, which is a wonderful feature that Facebook has for lives on Instagram. Because I'm the Facebook expert, I typically will craft my content on the Facebook platform and then I do it on Instagram and I don't cross-post the actual feed posts. That's unique for me, but for stories, I do. All my Instagram stories automatically cross-post to my Facebook business page stories. And then what I do is I save to camera roll, and maybe like not quite 24 hours later, like later that same day. So it's different timing, is I will just upload one or two or three of the stories to my personal profiles. And then I've got additional content. So I'm really a big fan of repurposing, because no matter what size your audience, whether it's 500 or 5 million, it's like nobody is going to see 100% of your content on every platform at the same time. And so don't be afraid of like really even using the same content. You can share it again, and you can, and not necessarily on Instagram, but certainly in your stories, and you can repurpose and cross post. The thing I'm not necessarily a fan of, Anna, is where you kind of publish the exact same thing across like 10 social platforms and just set and forget. Oh, check the box. Okay, I did my social media for the day. There are people out there that do that, and then they don't even go back and engage and see like what are the comments. So we want to kind of avoid that. And but yeah, and I would use the Facebook's native scheduler, which is inside Creator Studio. You can use third-party apps. I'm a big fan of Agora Pulse. I use them regularly for Twitter and LinkedIn, but I like Creator Studio for Instagram and, for Facebook. And you can schedule on your Instagram feed and then IGTV, right, on Creator Studio. Which I love being able to do that on desktop. Sometimes the mobile gets a little finicky.
Okay. I think we're almost out of time, but I just wanted to squeeze in one more question. This one's from Tamara. She says, can you talk about the dance between reaching out multiple times a day versus not overwhelming your followers? We want to be top of mind, but how much is too much?
Well, so first of all, keeping in mind that organic reach on both Instagram and Facebook, because the similar algorithm is also present on Instagram. So, I mean, I would do on Instagram probably no more than 3 times a day, but once a day, just kind of once a day would be a benchmark. Even if that's a stretch, I don't post once a day. That's my goal, but maybe I'll do 3 or 4 times a week or something. But on Facebook, similarly with your business page, I would aim for once a day. The litmus test, is the engagement. If you get absolute crickets, let's say you post 3 times a day on Facebook and you're getting tiny little bit of reach, then maybe go every other day. And it's actually less is more. This is what I do on my page. I used to post a little bit more regularly. Now I post less often, but I go much deeper. I post these more thoughtful, almost like mini blog posts. But that's my style and that works for me. So it's really important to test. But don't ever worry that you're overwhelming your audience. The nice thing with stories is you can't overwhelm them because they're in control. They're in the driver's seat of how much they consume. They can go tap, tap, tap. Okay, that's enough. Swipe on to the next person or account.
Right. Interesting. Mari, thank you so much for your insight. This has really been helpful to me, and I'm sure a lot of people out there who will eventually see this or who are watching live.
Absolutely. My pleasure to be here. Thanks, Anna.
And thank you for joining us for this episode of That Expert Show. Boy, she's awesome. I am such a Mari Smith fan. We will be creating a tip sheet based on everything that she shared. We will have that posted on thatexpertshow.com. You can also check out the episode later on YouTube or on the website. We also kick our content back out to you as a podcast. So Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, all the good places where you might listen to podcasts. Look for us there on That Expert Show. And please connect with me. Let me know what you thought of this interview, or if there are other experts or topics you think I should try to go after. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just look for Anna Canzano. Thanks so much for being part of the conversation. For those who joined us live, I love that it is truly a conversation between me and you and these wonderful guests. We do our show every Monday, 11 a.m. Pacific time, and we are here to help you try to live smarter, healthier, and happier. That is the goal of That Expert Show, where you help run the show.